Yo, what's up, guys? Screwballs MMA here. I'll be talking about UFC 6 a bit. I have quite a few hundred hours on UFC 5, and I wanted to talk about some things that UFC 6 should do to improve upon, adjustments they should make, roster updates. So if you don't know, actually, we'll get out of this quickly, and we're gonna go to this web page here. Um, UFC 6 is coming June 19th. You can pre-order it right now if you want. With the Ultimate Edition, you can get the Fighter Pass, which you get 6 UFC Legends, 8 new fighters, 2 at launch, 6 in future. So I'm thinking that might be people like Yoel Romero, people who are no longer in the UFC, um, things like that. UFC Legends. So yeah, that's something I'm thinking about. Maybe retired fighters. The expansion pass, which includes new mode plus more, coming winter 2026 and summer 2027. This could be Pride mode, and I really hope it is. VIP pass. Um, you get 5 UFC fighter skins, which is something that I've actually been wanting. So what I think this is, it's not. I don't think it's alter egos because I do think those will probably still be a thing. They haven't said they were or won't be. So I'm thinking maybe you can pick like there's different Sean O'Malley skins where he has different hair, or maybe you could have blonde Charles and then there's a skin of a non-blonde Charles. You could have short hair Max, long hair Max, maybe short hair Poirier, where there's also the P head Poirier, um, things like that. Um, Sorry, my dog's just bothering me right now. Hi, what's up? Uh, things like that, right? Some skins, maybe like different haircuts, things like that. So my apologies. So things like that, right? Just some skins and so like different versions of fighters that aren't quite alter egos, not going to change the stats, but just something like that. And then 6 VIP cosmetics. I'm assuming that's like the creative fighter, and 3 VIP emojis, um, progress boost, and then iconic moments. I don't know what this entails, but we're back. Okay. So this is the main cover. We got Alex Pereira throwing a left hook at Israel Adesanya. It's a pretty good cover. I'm so happy they didn't go with the UFC 5 style, like animated cover. It looked really weird. And then this is the Ultimate Edition. Max Blessed Holloway. Pretty good. Don't mind it. I'm going to go through some roster and who needs to be added, and then some optional ones. So first off, flyweight. Non-negotiables, Horiguchi, Loner, Kavanaugh. They should have been in the game already, but I think they already started working on UFC 5, UFC 6 by the time this all started. So I kind of understand that. Makes sense to a degree. But they have to be on launch. These two have to be in there. Bruno Silva could be added sometime, maybe around his next fight. Also could be at launch. I think he deserves to be in the game. He could be like a decent 4-star fighter if they're still going with stars. Maybe he has like heavy punch power, something like that. Emanol Rodriguez is someone you could add. And then I had Joseph Morales too. Just some prospects. I think it's good to put prospects in the game so more people know who they are. And I think it's fun. I think it's fun to put a prospects. Plus, if you're like me, you like doing the kind of creating cards and matchmaking and stuff on UFC 5. Having more unranked and prospects is always fun. Bantamweight. I guess some of them didn't come through. Ayman's a hobby, and I guess everyone else is coming. So Ayman's a hobby. David Martinez, pretty non-negotiable, I think. 2 top 10 fighters. Ayman should be already in the game. David Martinez, it makes sense. They'd already abandoned UFC 5 by the time he beat Cheeto. Other fighters, Houndy Barcelos, I think he deserves it at this point. Crafty Unk. Marcus McGee definitely deserves to be in the game. Jourdain is in UFC 5, but he's not at bantamweight. Put him at bantamweight. Vinicius Oliveira, he could be a fun fighter to use, almost like a bantamweight version of Yuri. Bad defense, pretty good chin. You can like walk forward and throw stuff. Davy Grant, I just think he'd be fun to play with. Same with Jacob Wicklach, Ethan Ewing, and these guys. They're all prospects. I think they'd be fun. Wellmaker can have some pretty high level power, but pretty one dimensional. Uh, I think Ewing can be, well-rounded. You could throw long combinations with him. Next up, featherweight. Zalal, Vallejos, Pico, Garcia, all kind of non-negotiable. They're all in the top 10. Um, they just should all be in the game. They'd all be really good fighters. They'll all be a good grappler to use. Steve Garcia can have fun forward pressure. Kevin, very Ilya Taporia-esque. And then Pico, you could be really, really fast twitch, but you could be a glass cannon too. You could just get chinned at any moment. Uh, Mikozel, prospect. Uh, Pitbull, just good to have around. He's a good fighter, deserves to be in the game. Nathaniel Wood should be just long stunt in the he's had his long stint in the career, and he's on a bunch of wins, so I think he deserves to be in the game. Andre Philly, just a legend of the game, can be in there, and then I put Delgado and Santos, some prospects they could add. If they're not in the game, who cares? But I just think they would be cool to be in there. Lightweight actually has a pretty good roster in the game, so these are just some. There's a few at the end here that are just would be fun to throw on. Ziam, top 15 fighter, deserves it. Salkill will be top 15 by this weekend. Probably should be in there too. It'd be really fun. Grant Dawson, good grappler, good fighter. Throw him in the game. This is a must. I think Terrence McKinney would be so fun. You could just have like max punch speed, high punch power, high submission offense, and then just put his cardio all the way down, put his chin all the way down, and he could just be a super fun glass cannon, first round banger. Give him a bunch of perks that just make him bomb out in the first round. I'll get to some more different kind of gameplay things I want. Next up, Rebecki. I think he'd be a fun scrapper. Him and Duncan, fun scrappers. Same with Mason Jones and Jai Herbert. They don't have that all. I think they should add 3 of these kind of 5 guys here within the first like 6-ish months of the game coming out. Next up, welterweight. Welterweight is a very good roster, but these are just some I want. Oralby, Medic, Amismov. These guys are all, and I think Jacob Smith would be a cool addition to have, but I think these 5 here are pretty non-negotiable. Gabriel Bonfim's top 10. I think any fighter who's like in the top 10, top 15, and like not just like slotted in at 15 or as like a fun prospect, they should be added to the game, I think. Middleweight, very good. These are really the only 5 fighters. Sure. I could find that would be kind of deserving to be in the game. RoboCop, obviously devastating power, really long, really fun, not great cardio. You could just bomb people with them. CLD, ton of variety and creativity you can have with them. Ikram, pretty popular for the kind of the Dagestani kind of community, and he's pretty decent. He has pretty good striking. He can mix in wrestling. Not a super great gas tank. Could be like an equivalent of like a 4-star. Bruno Ferreira, really short and stocky, really low volume fighter. Just give him like really high punching power, something like that. And then Abus, same thing, really low cardio. Give him he has pretty decent submissions and then really good kicks. You can throw a very good variety of light heavyweight. There's just not that many fighters in the UFC, like light heavyweight, that are very good. And I think almost all of these are kind of non-negotiables besides Iwo, but I just think he's a fun fighter and be fun to throw him in the game. Guskov obviously should be in the game. Jacoby obviously should be in the game. Zhang Min Yang. These 3 obviously should be in the game. I think Navajo is a big enough prospect and will probably be top 15 shortly after this game comes out. Next time he fights, puts him in the game. Jimmy Crute, there's not a lot of grapplers in this game. I think they should throw him in for some grappling. And then Iwo, probably he's just a good scrapper. Don't have to add him. Heavyweight, these are all non-negotiable in my opinion. Waldo, he's top 4, should be in the game. Top 5 should be in the game for Hokit. Delija, top 10 should be in the game. Fortune, I know he's only had 1 UFC fight. I still think he should be in the game. Talashin Teixeira would be pretty fun to have like a long, lengthy striker in the game. Give him bad cardio. Now I want to get into some gameplay things. You should be able, like the damaging system in UFC 5 is really weird. You can drop people 1,000 times, and it's just really weird. I think it should be hard to drop somebody in this game. You should be able to B-max all the way boom, 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 boom. Like you should be able to just throw volume and not power shots. I know they kind of try to do that with like if you go quick instead of holding, but there's just not enough power difference in holding that it's not like a viable strategy to like counter strike or to sit out. So I think this should be fun. Like you should be able to go the distance. It should feel rewarding to finish somebody, especially in like competitive game modes. I understand like in like the stand and bang mode, if there's like a bunch of dropping and knockdowns, that's fine. But I do think that this it should be fairly hard to finish somebody. I don't think you should just be able to drop somebody, but at the same time, you should be able to just KO somebody with one shot with certain fighters. Or get like an early KO that's just one shot and it just happens. Like you should be able to hit the button sometimes. Or like you should be able to rely on power shots. It shouldn't be this it's like a volume game, but you can drop somebody a bunch. It's really weird how UFC 5's damage system works. If I'm Protez, I should be able to get landed on a bunch. And it shouldn't just be like, oh, they have insane power and they can just knock you out. No, you should be able to have to time it and add counters that are good and add specifically, I want to get in this with Sean Strickland in a bit. The jab and the cross should be significant strikes. For some reason, they aren't in the game. You should be able to win a fight with a good jab. If you can just mainly use a jab the whole fight, you should be able to win. I think hooks should be hard to land, especially clean. And accuracy and timing should be a big thing in this game. Um, so yeah, you should be able to like rely on like a counter cross or something like that. Um, and just be able to drop somebody and put them out bad. So that's the thing. Fighters aren't unique enough in UFC 5. They all feel pretty similar, just with different kind of similar same moves, just different animations for the same thing. Oh, this guy's a bit more punch power. This guy's a bit better grappler. It's just boxing. Kicks aren't viable, so kicks have to be more viable too. Um, Sorry, this picture is really blurry. But TKOs, if you drop somebody, it should be very easy to finish them most of the time. That's what I mean when it should be harder to hurt people, but when you hurt people, it should be like, oh yeah, this person's done. Like if you drop them bad, there's like that really bad knockdown animation where they like kind of fall and it's basically just wraps when that happens. That should be like the base knockdown animation. You should still be able to get like these flatline KOs or more like this, like where you sit them down for a second and they pop back up. But there should be TKOs more often than not when a knockdown happens. And then yeah, you should just be able to flatline people. Like there should be also make better animations. The ragdoll animations half the time are stupid. They can like fall into their own limbs and stuff. Make them more realistic ragdoll animations. Standing TKOs. This should be a thing. If you should be able to rock somebody a bunch, and if you keep swinging on them, and they have like they're kind of just holding block, you should be able to standing TKO them. If they're just like holding block and they're block break, because block breaking should be kind of retarded. Block breaking should be kind of minimalized compared to what it is in UFC 5. Block breaking is just stupid. So it should be harder to block break somebody if they have like a good guard or something. But you can standing TKO them if they do get rocked. That's one thing I'm adding. Next, kind of, yeah, Sean Strickland. If I'm using Sean Strickland, I should be able to win a fight with a jab and a teep. You can't do that in UFC 5. You will lose a decision if they land 2 hooks because jabs don't count as significant strikes. So jabs and crosses should count as significant strikes. They do in real life. They should in this. Same with low kicks. Fighter uniqueness, this kind of the same thing. They should make MVP feel like MVP. He should be able to just sit at range, use footwork, and have a really bad block. Like if you hold there and block with MVP, lots of shots should get through. You should be able. It should be a harder fighter to use. You can use footwork, and he'd be frustrating, right? He should have like a special cross. You can kind of do it with a Superman punch, but he should be able to just like cross in, and then like they kind of clinch up in that double under situation. So that's what I think personally, and I think it'd be cool to have more fighter uniqueness when I'm using like someone like MVP. Counters, counter striking should be viable. Like single shots, like someone gets overzealous, you should be able to like put a cross on them and put them down. If they're like momentum based going forward, like footwork should be faster in UFC 6. And then like if you're running forward, right? You're running forward, boom, you get a cross put on you, and then you go out. I think that'd be really cool, and that's something I would really like to see in this game. Um, that isn't kind of in UFC 5. Like if I'm Sean O'Malley, the same thing kind of with the jabs. The cross like should be like a main weapon for Sean O'Malley. I should be like teep back, and then someone tries to step in because I'm staying at range. And boom, I put a cross on them as they're stepping in, and they go down. So grappling. Now we're gonna get into a little bit of grappling. Uh, Body triangle should be an addition from the back. So kind of if I'm assuming they're keeping the same kind of grappling system where you have the different directions you should go, almost like how they have the crucifix and side saddle in side control. They should have the body triangle. So you have to clear the body triangle before you can clear the back. Um, Something like this, and then other things too. You should be able to catch people in transition. They kind of have it now, like reversals, but they should have like a different thing. Let's say someone off your back, they try to take mount, but you're a bit late to reverse them. You should be able to just go into half guard then. And instead of just bringing them all the way back to the back, you should now be able to rotate into half guard. Things like that. Add in between positions. You know what I mean? On transition. Ground and pound. You should be able to throw multiple elbows in consecutive fashion. Um, Elbows in UFC 5 are just one elbow and they're blunt. The elbows should be more like the side control or scarf side saddle kind of scarfold side saddle style elbows where they do less damage and they cut. You can go down with that 12 to 6 elbows. Those should be the hard ones, right? You can boom. Maybe you could just throw one 12 to 6 elbow every once in a while, but like it splits through the guard really easily. That would be something I'd really like to see. Chain wrestling. This is something I really like. Wrestling isn't super viable in UFC 5. Um, and a lot of people are saying you should speed up the takedowns. I don't know if that's the solution. I think this is the solution. You add chain wrestling. So when I shoot a takedown and someone initially starts to defend, I should be able to like rotate to the back or rotate to a sink from a double into a single and then dump them. Oh, that might be OP. Just learn how to chain wrestle. Yes, but you could say I was striking too, but make it use a lot of cardio to chain wrestle. Like, let's say somebody denies like a chain wrestle attack of like 3 things. That should do a number on your stamina bar. That and like when they disengage, you come in with a knee. Ooh, bang, heavy damage. Um, Arm health. Kicks. This is one reason why I think it make kicks more viable. Blasting them at the arms, if they keep blocking them, it should do almost kind of how the block health works in this game and how they have the different health. Add an arm health. So the arm health, when it gets lower, it should affect kind of how well you can block and how much damage you do with the arm it's landing on. So like if you're fighting a southpaw in UFC 5, you should be able to blast that kick, kind of how Costa does, and do damage to arm. It shouldn't be crazy. You should have to land a lot for it to do damage. But so something like that I think would be good. That it just kind of takes away a bit of damage from that arm. So like if someone's using Protez, right, you'd be saying, oh, but the left cross is too overpowered if they go and shoot you with one thing. Boom, you land a bunch of high kicks. Now that cross does less damage. Something like that. Cat leg kicks. Leg kicks are not viable in UFC 5. Checks do way too much damage, and calf kicks don't do enough. So I have a kind of solution for this. Make the checks do less damage, but make it so that they have like this whole huge blue screen animation when you land a good low kick. That should be hard to get to, but you should be able to just calf kick them a bunch, and then their movement kind of slows down a little bit. Nothing crazy because I said, right? The game should be faster paced footwork wise. So if you calf kick them a bunch, it should move to almost like a UFC 5 how they move, kind of sluggish, kind of. Yo, my headset died for a second. We're back. So something like that, right? How the low kick, it'll kind of bring you almost to UFC 5 style, a bit clunkier. You can switch stance and it would help a bit more. Because they kind of have that, but it's only when you do a leg health event that your movement slows down briefly and then it kind of picks back up. So just slowly slowing down and slowing down over and over again off low kicks. Low kicks are okay, like you can use them in UFC 5, but they're just not viable enough. Too easy to check. And it should be sort of easy to check, and it should still do damage back if it checks. That's not what I'm saying. I just think it should be a little bit better. So that's kind of all I had kind of off of this. I'm excited for this game. I'm hoping they add kind of some of the things we're talking about. If you disagree with any of this, let me know. If there's anything else I should add, any other fighters you would add, any other gameplay things you would like to see, let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.